So good morning for those of you who are on the call. We are going to talk today about daily success systems, and what is really important about getting these established and establishing them early is to make sure that you realize that systems either empower you to succeed or set you up to fail. You make a decision to build your system on to build your daily success systems. And that's one of the things that we're going to talk about today is your daily success systems. Guy, I'm having trouble with saying that today. Getting them in place, how that translates to a weekly success plan, monthly success plan, both personal and professional, and how you can take all of those, package them to have a pretty low stress week with the things that you can control. Obviously, we're in the customer service field, we're in real estate, we're in mortgages, and so there's some of this that we won't be able to control, and that's just fine. But a lot of it, I find that the stuff that we can plan, if we do it and do it well, it really allows us more free time to work on those money-making tasks, such as meeting with clients, taking them out for coffee, getting to know them, trying to build your referral base, etc., etc. So we're really going to focus on those things today. One question for those of you who are on the call, do you guys have anything documented, a daily success system or plan? Do you guys have anything like that documented? I would love to hear from you if you do or do not. Now, the ones that I'm going to be talking about today are more formal, meaning that I actually have checklists. Okay, cool. So you do, Erin. That's great. I actually have checklists that I follow every day, and you're going to see that I'm a very creative person. I'm one of those rare breeds who's both a right brain and left brain. I think we talked about that during my disc. But one of the things that enables me to do is if I do create checklists and if I can stick to them, I do have pretty good success at that. I am pretty defined as far as what my success systems look like in checklists because I love nothing more than checking something off of my list. So let's go ahead and dig right into the meat of what we're talking about today. The power of a system is that there are small daily improvements. They are the key to staggering long-term results. So what does that really look like? So what that looks like is, according to Wikipedia, Wikipedia says that we have what are called habits and rituals. And a ritual is a sequence of activities involving gestures, words, objects, and tasks performed in a sequestered place and performed according to a set sequence. And a habit is a routine of behavior that is repeated regularly and tends to occur unconsciously. And the reason why I like to pull these words out in a class such as this is because we want to create good habits, right? Everybody has good habits, everybody has bad habits. And what we want to do is really look at what is a good habit for our business and how can we create a system around that good habit and really have it occur unconsciously. We just want to do it. That's what a habit is something we always do, we've always done, and it changes our behavior. A ritual is a sequence of activities, and so that's really going to be more like what we're creating today. The system that we create today is a series of activities that we find really help us to excel our business, and if they're performed and performed well, we will gain good traction in our business from these rituals. So a habit is something we do unconsciously. Some we have to break, some we have to establish. And a ritual is a sequence of activities that we need to set in place to garner or to excel in our business. And we all know that, and you've probably heard this saying before, but success is a sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out. And so what I want to do is really talk. I'm going to be pretty transparent here. So no, this is a judgment-free zone, as we talked about. But I'm going to be pretty transparent in what my morning ritual success is, my daily, my weekly, my monthly, etc. So you guys can see how this can translate to your business, because really, when you think about it, we are all in customer service. And regardless of if we're selling houses or closing loans, regardless of what it is, we are all in a customer service business. And so while that is an unknown, what that's going to look like during the day, if we establish our rituals, it'll be a lot less stressful for us. So this is my morning success ritual. And this is stuff that is habit for me now. I don't do this consciously. I don't have to go to my morning success ritual and check these off the list. They're just done. But this is kind of what my morning looks like. I wake up. I always count my blessings because I want to make sure that I remember those, right? And one of those blessings is that I woke up. I usually will go pour my cup of coffee because I've probably expressed this, but I'm a little addicted. And so I'll go pour my coffee. I also fill my water bottle because I've been trying to drink more water for healthiness. I take my dogs out, and I usually, like on a day like today, I toss the ball around with my big dog. My little dog just likes to sniff the yard. But I play ball with them. It gets them moving, it gets me moving, and it's something that I can do with them, and they anticipate it, they get excited about it, and so do I. I always check my Bible verse of the day. I want to know what's my day is going to start like and what I can then factor into my day as far as what scripture is telling me. You may not be a Bible reading person, and that's just fine. Look up some inspirational quotes, something to kind of fill your day. And then I usually am on my second cup of coffee. I always text my husband in the morning and check in with him and say, hey, good morning, because he leaves while I'm still sleeping. And so even though he says goodbye to me, I usually don't respond because I'm dead to the world. So I'll usually text him just to let him know I'm thinking of him. Then once I get all those things done, and again, this is all just habit for me now. It's kind of my ritual, my habit. I'm not checking this stuff off my list, and then I go sit at my desk and I go to work. So that's kind of my morning success ritual or my morning habits. And really what I'm trying to show you here is that I try and do some real positive things before I even sit at my desk to go to work. I say it like this: I need to fill my cup in order to be able to fill your cup. Does that make sense? And I think that we have to do this as real estate agents and as mortgage professionals. We need to fill our cups so we can continue to fill other people's cups. And so that's one of the things that I do, is fill my cup, and this is some of the ways that I do it in the morning, both literally with my coffee and water and figuratively. Now, there are certain things that we need to do. We talked about rituals and we talked about checklists. And these are habits, but now let's look at what my daily success ritual could look like. Now, one of the things I'm showing you here, this is an actual checklist. So Erin, you said that you and Brian have a checklist that you guys do either daily or weekly, however you guys do that. This is one that I put together for a client that I was working with. Part of it is because we want to know who can do what. Would it be fair to say that you guys, being real estate and mortgage professionals, need to spend your time on money-making tasks? And in a little bit, we're going to be talking about the 80-20 rule. So we're going to be talking about that. But what we want to do is really drill down what are your highest money-making tasks, and that's where you should spend your time. You shouldn't spend your time on the stuff that is just fill work. Now, when it's just you and, not a team of people, you don't have an assistant, or you don't have, the support of a team, or, a group assistant, or whatever it is, when you don't have that, it all does fall on your shoulders. We get that. So that's just absolutely fine. But here, this is actually something that you can take and expand. So let's look at this daily success ritual. This is a Monday, okay? I envision, and I actually have this for the entire week, and then I translate that to the entire month. This is what I build out for my clients, okay, that I work with. So on Monday, we call 10 people. I have agents there, but that's just because of who I worked with. But you can say call 10 clients, past, present, future clients, okay? So you call 10 clients, so make those phone calls. Who does it? Well, those might be high money making opportunities for you. You want to connect with them. Because for those of you who are on the call, what do I say about people do business with who? They do business with those that they know, like, and trust, right? And those that they know, like, and trust, they get to know on a personal level. So pick up the phone and call 10 clients. Check, it's done. That's your Monday. P.S. That's also your Tuesday, your Wednesday, your Thursday, and your Friday. Okay? Now, you want to set appointments. So when you're calling these people, set appointments. What is your goal? Is your goal 1 per day? Is your goal 5 per day? Well, that probably is dependent on how big your database is. But what your goal is, your bigger goal is, you are connecting with these folks to hopefully get you some referrals. We know that not everybody in your database is looking to buy every day of the week or every day of the month or even every day of the year. They may be, I don't know, you guys tell me, what is the turnover as far as people in your area? Is it 4 years? Is it 5 years? Do they typically stay in their house 10 years? I don't know. Only you can answer that. 5 to 7 years? I guarantee that those people that you are calling know at least one person who is considering moving. I guarantee it. And so the more that you focus on those phone calls and connecting with people on a real personal level and offering to set appointments. An appointment doesn't have to be are you wanting to sell your house, or are you wanting to list your house, or are you wanting to buy a house? An appointment could be, hey, can I take you to coffee? And then once you take them to coffee, say, you know, I really appreciated the transaction that we had. Getting you in your house was awesome. It was a great transaction, smooth, really enjoyed working with you. Who else do you know? You know, and it could be that you're meeting with vendors. Maybe you're looking to expand your Angie's list or whatever it is that you want to call it. Maybe you're looking to meet with some like-minded vendors, okay? Maybe you're setting appointments and you're going to BNI, Business Network. What is that called, guys? I just went blank. BNI, or networking. Networking groups. Maybe you're setting appointments so you go out to those and network with other people, network with other vendors. Maybe you're setting coaching appointments. I don't know what that looks like, but I know that the more you make phone calls and the more you meet with people, the more that you do those two things, the better your business is going to be. I can't stress that enough. So those two things are going to stay the same every day of the week. Now, what I also do is I like to say, okay, so what are some of the other success rituals that we need to have? What are some of the other things we need to check off the list? Well, Facebook. So what I do with clients I'm working with is I map out their entire week. So on Monday, typically we post an inspirational quote or comment from a client with their picture if possible. So get those at the closing table pictures, get them holding the keys up in front of their new house, you know, congratulate them, get a quote from them. Nothing is more powerful than a quote or a picture, a quote and a picture, excuse me, of your client at the happiest point of their life, which is when they close on that home. Correct me if I'm wrong, Erin, but don't you see that even though maybe you've had a struggle in a transaction, or it's been a little rougher road than what we anticipated, or Bill or Laura, maybe an inspection didn't go as planned, or the appraisal came in a little bit different than what we expected. But boy, when you give them those keys and you say, congratulations, you are now a homeowner, man, they get a big smile on their face. And what better time than to grab a quote from them, grab a picture with them, and they are so very happy. So focus in on that. And remember, here's the other thing I want to say is you may say to me, well, Julie, I only have one closing a month. Fine. That's okay. What about additional people that you worked with? Get a quote from Aaron. Get a quote from Brian. Get a quote from somebody in your office. So-and-so is always willing to help out on anything that I need. Get it from a vendor. You know, think of client as a bigger picture term. So it's okay if you only closed one this month. Our goal is to get you more, but it's okay. So every Monday, you just want to do something that is inspirational, or a comment from a client, a quote, a picture, something along those lines. And remember, you can reuse them too, right? Because honestly, let's be really honest here and really transparent. Nobody remembers what I posted on Facebook yesterday. So in a week from now, when I go to post another quote, I don't want to keep posting the same thing over and over, but really nobody's going to remember that I used it again. So if next month you use the same one, it's okay. And then you've got Pinterest, right? We've talked about all the social media. So we've got Pinterest, post a staging tip. We've got Twitter, a quote from a customer. We've got Google Plus. It's not on here, but do another quote from a customer. You know, and again, these are not stuff that you guys have to do. If you have an assistant, or you have an understudy, you have an intern, whatever it is, if you can get them to do that, or even a kid to get them some exposure and interest in your business, man, get them to do that. This is not stuff you have to do. The other thing I will say on this daily success ritual, and I do apologize, we're staying on this very long, but I think that this is so critical that you guys get this, is that you can use some of the stuff that we talked about in the social media class, like Hootsuite. You can set all of this stuff up. And we're going to talk about that, setting up your week for success. You can set this up a week in advance. You could set it up a month in advance by using like a social media program like Hootsuite, which is what I use. So this does not have to be a daily task. It needs to be done daily. It needs to be performed daily. It needs to be executed daily, but it doesn't have to be your daily task. Does that make sense? Good. Okay. Now, the other thing is email campaigns. If you, who on the call, sorry, let me go back up. My brain went too fast there. Who on the call does email campaigns? Either drip campaigns or pushing out tips and tricks. Does anybody on the call do that? Okay. So a couple of you do, but if you do, good, keep it up. If you do not, I suggest you start with the basic, a newsletter. Now, I don't know about you guys, but do you use office products like you can use PowerPoint, you can use Word, you can use any of those office products. They have built-in easy breezy newsletters. And newsletters are simply just a quick way for you to connect with your client. And I will actually, I'm going to write this down because I don't want to go off the screen right now. But I'm going to, if we have time at the end, I'll show you a newsletter that I do for my daughter's swim club. Here I am preaching about all this stuff, right? Well, we just started doing the newsletter for this month. We send out additional emails. So, you know, it's not like we don't contact the people, and they're all on social media and we post there a lot too. But one of the things that I started this week or this month was doing a newsletter, and that got a lot of traction. So if you do not do email campaigns, I say start small, just start, and send out a hey, what's up newsletter. Once a month, the first Monday of every month. It doesn't really matter when it is. That's just what I usually will tell people to start with. LinkedIn. Go on LinkedIn and look for new contacts, look for new groups, look for your clients, connect with them. LinkedIn is a great business tool for you to connect with other real estate agents in your area, in your market, and other small business owners, other people, just to connect with them, to see what else you can accomplish and what other groups you can get involved in to network with, et cetera, et cetera. So LinkedIn is great. Always continually working on marketing material, continually working on communication templates, your phone scripts, your appointment scripts, all of that stuff. You're always working on that. And of course, the direct mailing. Anybody on the call do some direct mailing? I know some of you do. I've talked to a few of you offline, and you guys do a great job of sending out those postcards. You know, that's another great high-touch, low-cost way to connect with your people. Farm out to a different zip code. You can buy those zip code lists. Farm those out and send a postcard once a month. You know, just a, hey, here's what's sold in your area. You know, pull a few houses. Show, you know, if you're interested in buying or selling, I'm here, wave your hand. It's almost as, you know, it's almost like going and knocking on the door. It's not quite as personal, but it's, again, something to consider. So this is your daily success ritual. You will want to create this for every day of the week. So Monday, what does your Monday look like? Well, you'll have your phone calls, you'll have your set appointments, you'll have your social media. They will be different things. If you want assistance on this, even where to start creating a list like this, let me know, because I've got something built that you can use and actually build on it to be what you want to accomplish. This is kind of just a general one. So go ahead and type in the question or comment box if you do want something like this. I certainly would be happy to help share mine with you and help you build your own. So what do we do then? Well, obviously for every day we rinse, wash, and repeat. So once we find a good daily success plan, we just simply want to repeat, repeat, and repeat. So all of those things, most agents that I talk to put off their tasks that they don't like to do until the end of the day. And I'm not even going to say agents. I'm going to say people. Most people jump right into all those tasks that they love to do, right? But then the stuff that they don't like to do, they kind of put off to the end of the day. And then all of a sudden, oh, well, day's done. Don't have to do them, right? Anybody on the call just love to make phone calls? Love to crave making that phone call to their database? I see a lot of people not answering. And you know, it is pretty typical. It's for a lot of people, it's stepping outside their comfort zone. And so that's why I say you got to put it on the list and you got to check it off. The best way to have success is to do it and do it early. Get those tasks out of the way so then the rest of the day you can spend on fun stuff that you like to do. Now, if fun stuff for you is making phone calls, man, more power to you. I love that. That's the best way to grow your business. So then what we want to do is we really want to look at what is our weekly success ritual. So what is our weekly checklist? What does that look like? Oh, I totally agree with that. So Aaron wrote in here, which I totally agree with, is that especially in our business, we get so used to texting and emailing that we forget what an impact making that phone call is, communicating with our voice. Again, people do business with who they know, like, and trust. Text is faceless. Email is faceless. A phone call puts a voice influx. It puts personality behind the person. And it's a lot easier to connect with people on a deep level when you're communicating verbally with them versus the man behind the mask. What was that on Oz, right? It's the man behind the mask or the man behind the screen. It's a lot easier to do that. And I do think because of the pace, Aaron, that we sometimes have to go at, or depending on what the topic is, sometimes it is easier to just rifle off a text or rifle off an email. But it is very important that we do make that connection and they make that connection with us verbally. And it also, yeah, it does depend on the time of day. I mean, you know, Sometimes, like if it's late at night, you might want to email them so that they get it first thing in the morning. You're not going to text them after 9. You're not going to call them after 9, but something that needs to be addressed or something you just wanted to inform them of. It just really depends on that. Um, but again, I do think that's a very good point, is that we do forget the impact of our voice and the impact of picking up the phone and calling someone. I have it now where even with my kids, this is off topic, but similar. I have it with my kids is like, okay, if I text them, I may or may not get a response. But if we kind of have an agreement that if I call them, they have to answer the phone. Because that's something that needs to be done. Now, I quick rifle off a text, hey, when do you need a ride? But if I call them and say, yo, I'm here, get your booty out here right now, they know that, it's much more critical. And when I call them too, it's because I want to hear their voice, right? I want to connect with them on a personal level. And so I do think that that's very important. Now, looking at the weekly success ritual, again, y'all, here's our checklist. So what's the week? The week is this week. How many phone calls did I make? How many face-to-face appointments did I have? How many referrals did I get? How many note cards did I send? How many new client relationships did I build? I am a firm believer, because I don't know if you guys maybe have picked up a little bit of this from me. I'm a huge cheerleader. I am like a positive person on steroids. And one of the things that I love to do with my clients is to look at their week and celebrate their successes and talk about what obstacles got in the way from having as much success as I want them to have. And so one of the things that I think it's very important to do is to celebrate that. And what better way to celebrate it than to be honest with yourself by writing down, okay, here's my ritual. My daily ritual is that I'm supposed to make 10 phone calls a day. So that's 50 a week, right? Because that's talk just work days. So that's 50 a week. Well, how many did I make? 20. Okay. What got in the way of you making your phone calls? And are those items that got in the way of you making your phone calls, are they excuses or are they legit? I mean, if they're legit, you maybe wound up in the hospital. God forbid, you wound up in the hospital with a gallbladder attack. You're not going to make your phone calls. Okay, that's legit. Well, I got busy, or, I did this. Or, I mean, did you fill it with busy work, or did you fill it with money-making opportunities? Or, hey, Julie, I had so many closings this week. I was busy from morning till night. I couldn't make my phone calls. Well, good for you. So that's really what you want to do, is take the daily ritual, look at it on a weekly basis, either pat yourself on the back, kick yourself in the butt, and ramp it up from there. Does that make sense? Again, all of this stuff is stuff that you can do, and I think that once you start to implement some of these, you're going to have success. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is time blocking. Anybody know what time blocking is? Does anybody do it? A couple of you do. I think time blocking is so important that this is not my time. This is a sample, okay? This is not my calendar. I could show you my calendar. It looks very similar to this in that I block everything. And when I say everything, I mean I have to block a break. I block my breaks. I block when I'm checking my emails. I block when I have to go get my kids. I block when they have events. I block when I have a class. I block when I have to prep for a class. So like for this class, putting a PowerPoint together, running through my practice, I block that time on my calendar. I think it's so important because once I write it down, statistics say that if you write something down, you're 90% more likely to A, remember, and B, do it than if you didn't write it down. I'm a firm believer of that. And if I've got it written on my calendar, then at that point, it becomes a decision for me. I'm supposed to be working on A. And if B comes along, does B trump A? Well, which is the money-making opportunity? Which is the one that is going to take me farther in my business? Which is the one that I need to be spending time on? Well, B, I can reschedule another time, another block, right? And I can then continue working on A, which I've already said is the most important thing that I need to do today. So do you see how that works with the time blocking? It makes you, forces you, if you will, to make decisions on where you're going to be spending your most productive time. It also helps you to become less stressed by looking at your day and figuring out what you're going to be spending your time on. So going back to those phone calls, a lot of people put them off because it's out of their comfort zone. They're not comfortable with it. Block it off. 9 to 10 every day, you will shut your door and you will make your phone calls. Well, but Julie, what if I have, what if I need to take my dog to the vet? Well, don't plan it from 9 to 10 or 10 to 11. Find another hole in your schedule. Well, what if I have a closing? Okay, well, that's legit. I get that, right? Some of the stuff may truncate other stuff, but who set that closing? Is the client? Okay, the client takes precedence. We need to get them to the closing table. We want to get them satisfied. We want to get them happy. We want to be able to take that picture for our social media, blah, 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 right? So then on that day, I'm going to have to move my phone calls. So instead of from 9 to 10, I'm going to make my phone calls on that day from 1 to 2, right? Now, this is done with the Google Calendar. We've talked about that, guys. We talked about implementing the Google Calendar in your daily work. I love it because I can do repetitive tasks. So if every day I'm going to actually go in and repeat something, I can set it up that way. So this little, do you see like under this accounting, this little double arrow there? That is a repetitive item. So that means it's going to maybe go, I don't know, it looks like every Tuesday and Thursday on this calendar it repeats at that time. So now here he's got something to address, right? Because he's got, or she, I don't know who it is, but anyway, they have a double booking. So then they have to decide, okay, which is the most highest money-making opportunity, which is the one that I need to spend time on. And notice how they block out personal stuff too. I think that that's huge. We can't not have a life because we are working. We just have to find a good balance for that. I find myself, because I do enjoy my job and I do like working at it and I am very busy, that if I don't do blocking like this, my work quickly takes over my life and then my family suffers, and that's never a good place to be. So I block everything. This is what a calendar looks like. Time blocking increases focus by eliminating distractions. If you are time blocking your phone calls from 9 to 10 in the morning, shut your door, don't check your email, don't check your texts. As I always say, the world will not stop spinning on its axis because I didn't check my email. Somebody may get a little upset because I didn't get back with them within, 2 minutes, but as long as I'm setting that expectation, that's okay. Schedule time in your Google Calendar for completing tasks, phone call, time block strategies, and more. And honestly, I schedule everything, including I take 10-minute breaks to clear my mind, take a walk, listen to music. I schedule my lunch. I schedule time to get out of my chair. Otherwise, if I do not have that set, and if I do not have a little ding that tells me, get up, take a break, I will wind up sitting at my desk all day. And pretty soon I haven't eaten lunch, my blood sugar's down, I'm cranky, my bones are tired. So schedule everything and be committed to it. Does that make sense? Now, I'm going to put something out there that you guys are probably going to be like, what? Julie, you're nuts. I would really, really encourage you to schedule time blocking of checking your email. Type in the question box or the chat box, how many emails would you guess you get per day, including junk? Let's hear it. I got 30. I've got 80 to 120. Okay. So a lot, right? I mean, to me, that's a lot. I monitor, as we've talked about, I monitor several emails. I can't imagine. I couldn't begin to count. I should do that sometime. That would be a fun study. Now, right, Laura, exactly. It's a lot of garbage, is it not? So what percentage of those emails do you feel are junk? Or look at it this way. What percentage of those emails do you feel are important? $85 junk, 90% junk, 70% junk? Yeah. So what my point is, guys, is that very few of those emails are actually attention needing, right? A lot of them are junk, a lot of them are filler, a lot of them are FYI. It is a great way to keep your team involved in everything that's going on with the transaction. Yes, absolutely. But a lot of them are, very, very few of them are something that need to be addressed right away. We have created that monster. I personally have created that monster of the immediate response. So then what happens when I don't do an immediate response? Somebody's like, I emailed you 20 minutes ago and I haven't heard. Right? I mean, to me, that is this kind of stuff that we need to get away from. So I'm asking you to step out of your box, guys. Time block your email. Maybe 11 a.m. and 4 p.m. don't work for you. Figure out the times that do. Maybe okay, let's maybe start 4 times a day. Or maybe start 3 times a day. Maybe 2 is a stretch for you. Now, obviously, you're going to be scanning between the time blocks and looking for important items that you either need to delegate, schedule, respond to, et cetera, but don't let it be the time sucker that it is. That's my point. We're trying to establish good habits. We're trying to establish good rituals. And when we have something, a time sucker, such as email, it's very difficult for us to do that if we do not take the initiative and manage that. So one of the things that I use is this little chart. Okay? Oh, I love this quote. Your inbox is nothing more than a convenient organization system for other people's agenda. What is that saying? Your lack of planning does not an emergency for me make. Have you guys ever heard that saying? I love that. And I have I'm going to call them a coworker for lack of a better term, but I have somebody who they will email me and expect me to just pick up the phone and call them. Or they'll even email me and say, hey, call me. Well, pick up the phone and call me, right? So do you see how this is all tying together, guys? Is this making sense? You think we can develop a good system for you based on some of this information? I certainly hope so. So one of the things that I use when I'm time blocking my email and when I'm doing a quick scan is I look at the stuff, I collect the stuff, and then I decide, is it actionable? If it is actionable, do I do it? Do I do it now? Do I delegate, meaning waiting, or do I defer it? Can it go on an action list? Can it go on a project list? Can it go on the calendar? Obviously, if your client comes back with a horrific home inspection, you need to deal with that now, right? We need to stop all that we're doing and deal with it now because, you know, it could be a walk-away list versus a to-do list. And so we need to work on that. But is it something that we can defer? Yeah, it's something that we can defer. Is it something that can go on our calendar for another time so we can maintain our focus on making our phone calls or whatever it is we blocked for this period of time? Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, is it actionable? No. All that junk, spend some time and make sure that you are setting your mailbox up. Some of that junk, put on a filter so that it automatically goes to your garbage, your junk, your trash. So you don't even have to look at it. Do you file it? Do you file for reference? Is it actionable? No. Is it something FYI? Absolutely. So I'm just going to start so I go back to it. I do that all the time. If I'm in my email and it's something that I need to address later, I will just put a flag on it or star it and go back to it later. In fact, you know what? I'm going to write that down too, because I'll actually show you an email box that's pretty clean right now. That I will show you how I do that. So really look at this, and when you are doing your time blocking or your quick scan, look at the item. Is it actionable? Yes. Do I need to do it? Do I need to do it now? And be honest with yourself, guys. Don't fool yourself into giving something false importance. Delegate. Can I delegate this to somebody else? Do I have an assistant? Do somebody else can deal with this? Do I have to deal with it? Or can I just defer it to a different day or time? Can I delete it, or can I just reference it, hold on to it, and get to it later? So that's the time blocking email. I encourage you guys to do it. If you don't feel you can jump off that ledge and only check your email twice a day, then do it 3 or 4 times a day, but really schedule it. Now, this is a true case, guys. I told you I'd be fully transparent on this webinar. It's a full case of do as I say, not what I do. I'm terrible at this. I check my email all the time. And you know what? Here's the other thing. I think, and Aaron, this kind of goes back to what you were saying by texting and emailing is so easy to do, right? I've got it on my phone. I've got it on my iPad. I've got it on my computer. I have a watch, for Pete's sake, that shows me my email. I mean, come on. How connected can I be? And is that healthy? No, it's not healthy, guys. What we're doing to ourselves is not healthy. And it's not a healthy expectation for our clients either. Because eventually, and I'm assuming you guys all want your business to grow, and when your business does grow, your reaction time is going to be a lot lower. So set that stage up. Now, I'm not saying blow people off. Don't blow them off, but just be realistic in their expectations. I know Aaron, and does he check it all the time? Aaron told me that her husband has one of those watches too. I mean, it is so dumb. You know what I've taken to doing? I have it sitting on my desk. I won't put it on. I know, and it annoys my kids. It annoys my husband, because they're like, babe, we're at a movie, or babe, we're at dinner, and I'm like, yeah, but, and I have truly taken a step back, even though I'm still kind of addicted to being connected. I have truly taken a step back because I do want that balance, a quality of life versus quantity of life. And I want that quality of life. And so, there are times where there are things I have to react to, but now I look at it as, and this is kind of where I was at, and maybe you guys are there too, and take this little nugget, is I became what I call just a minute mom, where my kids would come to me, I'd be like, just a minute. And then like 10, 20, 30, 40 minutes later, my kids are still waiting for something. So I became a just a minute mom, and I don't want to be that mom. So doing all of this, creating these rituals, creating your balance, finding that life balance, finding and setting those expectations, guys, this is truly going to free you up to excel in both your personal and your business life. Okay? So now let's go on to my end of the day ritual. Here is my end of the day ritual. This might not be yours. Yours may look different than that. That's cool. I'm fine with that. Clear your desk or your workspace. Are you guys neat freaks at your desk, or are you like messy? During the day when I'm working, I'm a slob, meaning that I've got lots of stuff going on. But at the end of the day, I do always try and clear my workspace. It's kind of like putting a polka dot at the end of my day, and I really, really enjoy doing that. I want to have that sense of accomplishment. I want to review my successes, and I want to set myself up for tomorrow's successes. Oh, Laura, you're an absolute neat freak. How fun. You would come in and probably faint dead away if you looked at my desk right now. I just got a lot going on. But at the end of the day, I clear my desk or my workspace, wherever it is that you are, your car, clean out your car, right? Because I'm sure you guys spend a lot of time in that. Organize your papers, clean off your desk, put pens away, shut your computer down. Who has an office in their home? I do. I have an office in my home. And if I do not absolutely shut my computer down, I will stop in and check on my computer every once in a while. And I can't do that, guys. Again, quality of life, end of the day ritual. Break that set, break the chains, do all of that. So clear your desk, shut your computer down. Here's the practice that I love, going back to that high touch thing. I write 2 handwritten notes a day. Why? Because I think that that's kind of a lost art. I had an aunt, she passed away a year, we just celebrated her 1 year, and I think I told you guys this in a class before, but I still have notes that she hand wrote. She was one of these blessed souls who, whenever she thought about you, she wrote you a little card. And she would start at the bottom, you know, like how you start at the bottom of a note card, and then she'd go back up to the top, and then she'd go back on the bottom, and then pretty soon it'd be on the front. Depends on what she wanted to tell you. But you know what? I still have those cards. I still save them, and they still touch my heart to this day. So who are you thankful for? Who should you reach out to? Who has a birthday, anniversary? What milestones did they celebrate? Send a little card. Let them know you're thinking of them. You know, and maybe you don't have their address. Maybe it's a personal or professional person. It doesn't really matter. You're making those connections to grow your business, to get referrals, etc., and to be a good human. So send them an email. Send them a quick Facebook message. Hey, I wanted your address. I just had a family friend who, a old coworker of mine, and they finally had the adoption go through with their baby. So it's a happy gotcha day. And so I don't know if you guys know this, but in adoption, we celebrate 2 things. We celebrate a birthday and we celebrate a gotcha day. And so I made up a little card that was a happy gotcha day, and I sent it out to him. You know, she texted me and she said, that was so cool that you sent that. I showed it to Anna and she was so excited. You know, so those little things like that, people remember that stuff. Write handwritten notes. Step out of your box if you're not already doing it and do it. Write down tomorrow's goals. What can I do tomorrow that will bring me closer to my goals? My goal would be, or your goal could be, I have 1 closing a month now. I want to go to 2. I want to go to 5. I want to go to 10. Whatever it is, what can you do tomorrow that'll bring you closer to your goals? Circle the one thing, and I know you guys, this is a Keller Williams book, The One Thing, but the philosophy can be applied no matter who you work for, what broker house you work for, or what you do in life. Circle the one thing that you did today to bring you closer to your goals. So did you make your phone calls? Yep. Yay. Circle that. That's the one thing you did to bring you closer to your goals. And then also plan on who you're going to call tomorrow. Don't let every day be a surprise. Those are not fun days. Plan it out as much as you can. Even if you're not a planner, plan it out as much as you can. Let me see here. It was at my, Sunday night ritual. I told you guys that I would talk about my Sunday night ritual. This is legit. This is what I do. Here you go. I clear my head. I get clear my head. I collect all the papers that I need for the week. If I need to help people create their checklists or whatever. I get my inbox to 0, meaning that I look at my inbox and I start off with a 0 unread email at the beginning of the week. I review my action list. I review the previous week's calendar block to make sure I got everything. I review the upcoming calendar block to know what to expect. I review my project list. I review any and all relevant checklists. I prepare my morning success ritual. And I pre-schedule social media campaigns. So if I do that on Sunday night, Monday, I always start with success. My husband and I have a funny little thing that we started on Mondays is TGIM. You guys have heard of TGIF? We've started TGIM. And it started off as being sarcastic because everybody's like, oh, Monday, but, you know, weekend wasn't long enough, all of that. Well, we decided that we needed to change our Monday attitude, and so now it's like TGIM. What are we going to do this week to make it a great week? I encourage you guys to do that. I encourage you to take an hour, half hour, whatever it takes on Sunday night to get your week right. Set it up for success, okay? I told you I would talk just a little bit about the 80-20 rule. The whole point of doing this, the whole point of setting up your rituals, your daily success plans, your weekly success plans, your monthly success plans, is to focus on the 20% of work that brings in the 80% of your business. So what does that mean? The numbers mean 80% of your outcomes come from 20% of your input. You guys have heard that. You know that. I mean, this is basic stuff. However, I don't feel we do such a great job of application on this. And I think that 80% gets us in such a tailspin that it's very difficult for us to focus on that 20%. Now, it doesn't matter what the numbers are. I mean, you could say that there are certain activities in your life that you do that account for the majority of your happiness. So does 20% of what you do account for 80% of your happiness? It's pretty standard across the board. 20% of your efforts, if you block your time, say 10 hours a day, I'm not saying work 10 hours a day, I'm just saying let's pretend, okay? You work 10 hours a day, 2 of those are made in phone calls, networking, and connections with people. I guarantee that will bring in 80% of your business. I guarantee it. So really focus on that 20%. Structure your day, structure your week, structure your month so you can focus concentrated time on that 20%. I'm going to tell you right now that 20% is not as successful when it is peppered throughout the day as when you can concentrate on it. That's why I'm saying time blocking. That's why I'm saying put all the other stuff aside, spend an hour making phone calls, concentrate and focus on that time. Let all the other stuff wait, because when it's a concentrated effort, you're going to get great success out of that. So we've talked about daily, we've talked about weekly, we've talked about monthly success plans. We've talked about time blocking, why that's important. We've talked about the human connection, why that's important. We've talked about the 80-20 rule, why we need to focus our efforts 20% of the time to increase our business by that much more. What questions do you guys have? Boy, I must have done okay because I'm pretty much right on time. So that's good. I was going to show you, if you guys, while you guys are thinking of your questions and posting those, I was going to show you I know one of you guys said that you don't do any email campaigns. So can you guys still see my screen? I think you can, right? You can still see my screen. Okay. So here, I wanted to show you on my Google Drive. Come on, computer, work fast for me. Here we go. MCATs. And again, this is not, this is just something that I did. But I wanted to show you, for those of you who are just starting to think about doing an email campaign, this is April that I did for MCATs. I told you guys this was one of my goals for this year. Now here we are, okay, January, February, March, April. I'm in my 4th month, but it was one of my goals for the year to get this done. So now I can check this off my annual success list. But it's an easy template. I just changed the colors. I added the content. So here we are. What is it? It's the April schedule, coaches training, head coach update, and evaluations. Boom, boom, boom. Took me 30 minutes, 45 minutes or so to get this looking the way that I want to. But now the template's done, so now I just have to plop information in, and I sent this out. So I can check that off my list. So my point is that it took me a half hour, 45 minutes, but now it's done. And I can check it off my list for April. I sent it on April 1st, or well, today's April 1st. I actually sent it on the 30th of March. So I got to already check this off my list. So it is a prime example of time blocking because I was able to do it. I did it. High degree, sent it out, check it off my list. Now I don't have to think about it. Now it is on my list. It's on my calendar to look at the last week of April to get it done. So I did block it on my calendars because this is important to something that I spend my efforts on. So that's that. And then the other one that I was going to show you too is this is email that we use for swim. And again, I don't know why swim is maybe I just excel at that one. So, oh Lord, you don't want to look at my own email. It's crazy. But if you look at my swim here, this email, there are two people in it at all times, me and my partner. And so we have to kind of be very careful that we're not doing a lot of duplicity of work. So for those of you on the call who do have assistants, make sure that you put together some type of arrangement so you don't have a lot of duplicity of work. There's nothing that's more of a time sucker, time killer, productivity killer than that. But so here what we do is if this here means that we responded to it already for us. And then if we need something that needs to be responded to, I star it. So I may go in there and I may see this email, but if it's something that I have not responded to, I can go ahead and star that, or I can mark it as unread. So that way when my partner goes in there, she sees it and can react on it because I don't want to schedule this lesson. I want her to do that. So this is a really good example of I bring my unread emails down to zero, or a zero read email box at the end of the day, and I start the day like that, and then I only check this once a day actually, and I've set those expectations. So here's a good example of that. I encourage you guys to do that. I guarantee your productivity will go up. So thanks so much for joining me, guys. If you have any other questions, of course, you can reach me via email or phone. I'm always available to you guys, and I look forward to working with you and getting you set up on your goals. Take care. Have a great day.